All right, let's get amongst the news. It's 28th of Feb. This is going to be a short, quick stream to fill you with information because there's a little bit of bullishness on Solana. Let's get amongst it. All right, so there's a little bit of reprieve for Bitcoin, just a tiny bit. ETH has gone down a little bit further, but Sol has pumped up 7% in the last 24 hours. Let's go over that news. So CME Group, the world's largest futures exchange, to launch Solana Sol Futures. So how it works is CME, they launch Sol Futures first as an ETF, and then a spot ETF normally follows from that. So it's like a precedent has to set. At first, it's going to be offering size for micro-size contracts, so 25 Sol, which will, Sol will probably be back at $200 soon. So $5,000, and then a larger size contract, 500 Sol for the bigger people. This is the first step that is needed. So this has been a bit of a push for us in the Solana space. The next bit of news is it's the final day right now to claim your BONKdragon rewards. So we did all the tasks for quite some time. Bonk has not performed well, but the entire meme coin market has not performed well. Still bullish on Bonk. Bonk saves Solana, and I think we'll be rewarded. So go and do that now. It expires, or rewards claim ends today at midnight Eastern Standard Time, which I believe is 5 a.m. UTC. Now, Jason Bazzino has this viewpoint here, that Ethereum could be in more trouble than expected if it closes under 2,000 to 2,100 area with no quick recovery above that price level. That, each trader is going to have his own kind of mind here. What I'm more looking at is this. Remember, February was when most influencers were beating the drum for ETH and told us to follow the money because Trump, etc., were buying millions of dollars. That always sounds fishy to me. And this is referring to like World Liberty Fi. They went and bought like ETH, but they also bought like Tron and a whole lot of just rubbish. It hasn't worked out thus far for ETH, but at the same time, once ETH goes down really low, I do think the whales will pump it up. So keep that in mind, but just don't be liquidated if you hold some ETH. Now, the reason why market's still not recovering, and we'll go over that a little bit further as well, and then end with a little bit of TA because things may be starting to pick up. So Donald Trump says proposed tariffs will go into effect March 4th. So I'm pretty sure you would have seen this, but this is probably the biggest thing which is crashing the markets. And these trade wars, this all relates, of course, to the stock market, and Bitcoin actually follows the stock market, and then all of the altcoins in general follow, for the most part, Bitcoin. That's just how it works. So this is a fantastic letter that goes out. And in past, like gold was deemed like a hedge against inflation and whatnot, and it has been outperforming. And people thought that Bitcoin was like a digital gold, and it kind of could be. It certainly could be, but it actually just correlates very, very largely to the actual to the S&P 500. So that's really what it is. The correlation, because it's a speculation bid, it's just in line with the S&P 500. So the S&P 500 tends to go well, Bitcoin price goes well as well. This is S&P 500. I do not think it's going to go down and fail. It's very, very hard. I mean, I don't think it's going to go down and fail like this year, 2026. A lot of people in the 18.6 year property cycle kind of idea or mindset, they believe that it will start to bottom, and then it could be very, very aggressive. But not this year. That's kind of the expectancy. But you have to watch the charts and see what the data is. Bitcoin falls under 80,000. It's bounced back since that, but that was very, very, very brutal. Like this it hasn't been down here since like August or something like that. Now, what's kind of causing all the sell pressure? Well, these Bitcoin ETFs have experienced an 8-day streak of outflows totaling 3.2 billion. So the institutions are not diamond handing their Bitcoin like Michael Saylor is. And this is quite sizable. And this trend highlights potential concerns or shifts in investor confidence regarding Bitcoin ETFs. So what does it really mean? Well, of course, they're just going to sell these things and buy them, sell them, buy them, of course. But I'm hoping when a Sol ETF comes through and then a Sol staking ETF, even though the staking rewards will probably decrease, I'm hoping that we start to see something far more interest because of that return, whereas Bitcoin doesn't have that return. That's essentially what I'm thinking here. All right. The other major thing is Bitcoin traders are experiencing the largest unrealized loss since the collapse of FTX. This is where you factor in like how many people were in loss by holding their Bitcoin, the levels that they bought at, and that is a very bearish thing. This is, this hasn't happened for a couple of years, but I do think respite is coming close. There's been a decent amount of money liquidated in the past, well, earlier today, as this price has kind of dipped down really low. Now, Michael Saylor, he says all this bullish stuff throughout all the time, right? So you can't necessarily take it for granted. He's not a traditional whale. His company's a whale, but they just hold, accumulate, hold. Whales dictate where the price goes. He does not have that effect, but he is the most public person as a Bitcoin bull, right? Sell a kidney if you must, but keep the Bitcoin. And I'm not going to agree with that, but I will say that the cycle's not done, in my opinion, not financial advice. So don't get liquidated or don't sell at these levels, because this is what whales want you to do. They will force it lower and lower. You go apathetic, you get rid of it, you go get a job at your local McDonald's, and off you go. The state of the market visualization: ETH, Sol, Bitcoin, a little bit of movement on some, up or down. The only one to really kind of, and the big ones that's done well, is Sol, and of course that's just on that speculation news or on the CME futures news, which is very, very good. The other thing is, I hope we don't go down further, and of course we could, but we already have, we kind of front ran all the liquidations and the all-time high drop. I mean, we're still less, we're still down over 50% from all-time highs, or around that. The fear and greed is still at 16. So it was 10, 16. This is extremely, extremely low. And you can DCA in if you want. Leverage is probably a bit of a scary thing. We'll cover the final thing at the end. But leverage right now, there's still a bit of uncertainty in the market. Having a quick look at the calendar. You got Super Team Talent if you're keen on that. BONKdragon, as I mentioned. There's a few other things, but just keep in mind just having a look at this calendar if you can't watch the video. The important thing is that you profit in this space. You learn and you profit. That's my kind of viewpoint. The SEC declares meme coins are not considered securities. They do not involve the off-end sales of securities under the federal securities laws. So there's going to be a whole lot more tokens coming. And on this kind of news, you're probably going to see Dave Portnoy doing Greed 3 or something. Remember, if you're going to get into something, you don't want to diamond hand these things unless it's not even unless it's a grifting thing. So you got to be very, very mindful out there. You could DLM them if they look good, but that's about it, all I would say. The other thing that's coming from the US House Democrats is introducing the Meme Act to prohibit the president, vice president, members of Congress, senior executive branch officials, etc., from sponsoring or endorsing a security, future, commodity, or digital asset. And I think that is a fair thing, because the Trump token, it was a fun little ride. I would say it was net positive in that it kind of gave people the freedom to do this. But other than that, it's kind of eventually going to zero, I feel. Now, if you want to get fitter or just earn some crypto, then I suggest checking this out. The next Walk and Golf and Walk fitness game begins tomorrow. It's $50 to enter, and if you do all your steps, then you'll get your $50 back plus a little bit more. And there's also one lucky winner receiving a Genesis collectible, which I think is worthwhile. I think Golfin has real-world utility with its app coming along Q2, I think, this year. And there's so many things in crypto where people want to actually use it as in the crypto environment. Instead, we just go and speculate on a meme coin. So give this a go if you want to witness the fitness. MetaMask is introducing native Solana and Bitcoin support. That's very cool. Doesn't interest me because I'm a Solflare man. Maybe I could use it for Bitcoin, potentially. But more, I like the fact that the UI and UX is finally being overhauled, which is brilliant. I've used this MetaMask in my tutorial I released earlier today on Monad. And it just works because it's tried and tested, but it just doesn't have a nice UI. So I like that this is coming. Good work on them. Speaking of the tutorial I was just talking about, this is it here. Don't miss out on this. It's 35 minutes long. It's gone through a whole lot of stuff. And if it doesn't interest you, that's completely fine. I am mostly covering Solana, of course. I've mentioned this many times, but in general, like, let's make crypto fun again by using the blockchain. The good thing is, if we go to another blockchain, even if we are more of a Sol Maxi, or maybe you're an ETH Maxi, go to another blockchain, you'll see something cool, and then in your little tribe, recommend that they introduce this tech. Like, I'd love DLMM tech with Uniswap. Like, who wouldn't? There's so many things which need to be like modified and put onto another blockchain. Monad's a good example of just like things that they're trying out. So check out that video. Whole lot of effort. I think it's worthwhile. Next bit of news, or not news, sorry. Next thing we'll cover before we end this live stream nice and fast today is Solana US dollar, the crypto market cap. This video, we did a tutorial on it with Katoshi on the Jupiter Exchange YouTube channel, along the lines of like how to trade or something. I also did a podcast with Katoshi, who's from the Jupe Cadets, the Jupe Cadet Working Group, and he talked about his strategy. And I'm only showing one thing just so I'd make it kind of simple. But long story short, price goes down when it goes red, price goes up when it goes green, right? Green. And then you generally close off and you short, or you don't have to, and it's generally profitable. Now, we've only just flashed green. Now, this is still a little bit too early, but we could see this risk. There's a little bit of respite. Now, of course, we flashed green before here. We only up like a small, I don't even know what that it was, like 4% or whatever. This on the 2-hour chart, and it came on down. And thus far, we've obviously pumped from the low, like 14%, which is decent. But if this can start to gain a little bit more of a curve, we're all about this curve. Like if it's flat like that, it's a little bit meh. But if it starts to get really curvy, big thick curve like that, like them curvy ticks, nice curve and uptrend like that, then we could be starting to reclaim a bit. And you may want to, not financial advice, you may want to put on a long, but you can either open now and set a stop loss, or you can do whatever you like. I'm not doing anything right now because I'm just busy moving this weekend, but just put it on your radar because we learn this stuff so that we can apply it, right? Same thing with Bitcoin. 2-hour, it's just flash green. Needs a little bit, a couple more 2-hour candles so we can see it kind of move up. But Bitcoin doesn't move as much, of course, but we can see even, like when was this? 19th, so like 10 days ago, it moved up like 4%. And it's been red ever since, and we've just gone green. But I would want it to go a little bit more green, to be perfectly honest. Well, that's everything. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow, and then I'll do like an AMA on Sunday. That's all. Catch you next time. Whoa!